Studio in Singapore, welcoming our friends from India, Shanu Mehta and the team from MMC. Shanu, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Graham.
So you're here for a flying visit?
Yes.
What are you doing here in Singapore?
So we are here for attending Xero Roadshow, and coming to the podcast was also one of the major objectives.
Great. Well, you're here now.
Yes.
And we're friends with Xero. We love what they do.
Yeah.
And the whole sort of community of
Yeah.
the Xero people there. So obviously you're connected with them through their marketplace. Tell us a little bit about how that works with you.
Yes. So we are exclusive partners with Xero Asia and Xero Canada as well. So we are listed on the marketplace. We are one of the migration partner, and we have a tie-up with Xero wherein any SME or CPA who is wanting to bring their clients to Xero, so we migrate their data on Xero, and Xero sponsors those migrations. So that way we have a exclusive tie-up with them.
Great. Excellent. So you're based in which part of India?
It's a central state of India called Madhya Pradesh, and we are from a commercial capital of MP, that state, Indore.
Okay, excellent. And the whole team is based out there?
So we have a team of 54 Xero certified people. All of them, they are based in Indore. Then we have a IT division. They are also based out of Indore. But we have a few vendors based out of Ahmedabad. And there's one more company, they're based out of Chicago.
Okay, so they're like your channel partners, are
Yes.
they?
So
Okay.
they help us in doing high-level deep learning developments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's put a shout out there to, well, firstly, Ankit, who's sitting off camera at the moment, but he's here. So all the viewers at home, he is actually in the studio, but he's a little bit shy. So Shana's doing the hard work here. You're
Yeah.
doing a great job, by the way. And also anybody listening back in India, let's put a
Yes.
shout. You do that, Shana. So anybody who's there, just say hello.
Hi, mummy, hi, papa. I'm sure they are online, and entire team of MMC, and few of our customers also, actually.
Excellent. I hope so. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you're following the MMC Convert journey on YouTube, then give them a like, a thumbs up, because YouTube knows what to do. If YouTube sees that people like this content, they'll share it and push your story out to the wider world. Excellent. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about your story. So there's a rich history of chartered accountancy in this family, right?
Yeah.
It goes on for many generations. Maybe you can tell us the story first.
Okay, so Ankit and I, we got married in 2009, and I always wanted to marry a professional guy because, you know, I thought like probably he would do his work in all those office hours and then come back to me, and I'll have a lot of time with him. So I
Right.
always
That was the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Okay.
But, so I married Ankit, and he comes from a chartered accountant family. His father is a chartered accountant. His grandfather was the first batch pass out of chartered accountants in India.
Yeah.
And so
When was that? That must have been a
that
long
was in
time.
1940s.
Wow.
And so he runs a 60-year-old firm. So Ankit is partnered in a 60-year-old firm. And so he is a CPA, a chartered accountant, and I'm a computer science engineer. So when we got married, we thought, like, let's club this thing and try to create something. And we were just in the thought that what can we do? Like, how can we, is there any problem which needs his domain expertise and my domain expertise? And we were on a honeymoon to New Zealand. And there we went to a place called Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, I know.
And
Out east, right?
Yeah. Then we were on a mountain, we were going, and then we heard this guy who was talking to his team about some accounting thing. And we overheard, like, you know, and he was talking to his team about some problem in his office, some technical stuff. And we just asked him out of curiosity that what is it and who are you and stuff like that. So he started telling about the problem. And so Ankit has an accounting expertise, so he just offered him a solution. Can this be done this way? And I offered the logical side of implementing it. And he just called his team and, you know, worked it out, and it did work. And eventually we found out that that guy was Rod Drury, the founder of Xero.
How cool is that? Well, there you go.
Yeah. So then we got into a conversation, and he said that, you know, this is accounting software, and we knew about it.
Yeah.
So basically, we did a little bit of research of what kind of accounting trends, and luckily we knew what Xero was. And he was telling his plans, and then he said that when people I convince people, or, they get convinced of Xero as a product to bring their accounting data on. But, they have a lot of history in the older software. So when the onboarding happens, they can start right away, but the data is left behind. So if somebody could do that bring all the historical data. So we returned from our honeymoon and we were on the major task.
Right.
So that's
you
how
had
we
the
started.
sign, right?
Yeah.
So let's unpack that. You went to New Zealand, of all places, on honeymoon,
Yes.
obviously with the accountancy background. That was the marriage of software and accountancy already there, with
Exactly.
Xero obviously from New Zealand, right?
Yes.
So you were out in Hawke's Bay and you bumped into
Rod
Drury. And this was this in 2009, right about
It
then?
was in 2010.
All right, so they were not that old by then. They were
No.
like 2 or 3 years old by then, right?
So we got to attend their annual investor conference, and there were few people in the room, and they were
Right.
showing the numbers, and I was like, okay, wow. So it was pretty new that time.
Yeah.
But they were growing.
And how was it for you, like when you came back to India and you were inspired by this random encounter? And I believe in random encounters. Sometimes there's signs where you have to do something.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can just walk past that person and nothing happens. Right?
Yeah. So it's like, the turning points in everybody's life, they can only make sense after you go fast forward few years and you see that,
Hindsight.
that was a turning point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's like a book, isn't it? You only understand it until you finished it.
Exactly.
So with you going back to India, now you're going back to a world very much where you have accountancy and you have software engineering, but they're very separate, aren't they, traditionally? I mean, accountants do their thing because they're generations, right? They don't need to disrupt something that works very well. And software engineering is very much about fixing that problem, not thinking bigger picture.
True.
So how is it in terms of marrying those ideas together? It couldn't have been straightforward and easy. Tell us a little bit about that journey for you.
So, Ankit and me, we had a consensus that if anything has been put digitally once, you need not to reproduce it. There should be some way to, get it into another form. You don't have to manually again punch it, right? So we were at that point and we figured out that the data is already there. All we need is to reproduce into another format. And the IT, the logics and all, they can enable us to do that. So that was one point, that there is definitely a way out there. How to do it, we still need to figure out.
Yeah.
So we just started, a service where we were just, on a Xero marketplace, we were telling people that we'll reproduce all your data. And then we started doing it manually. So we had 2 or 3 clients. It was just me, Ankit, and a laptop, and we used to work overnight. And then we used to manually do the whole process in order to understand what is it. And then eventually I had an IT guy sitting with me, and then he used to, whatever I used to do manually, he used to just try to make logics to automate the process. And I think in the period of 6 months, we had some 200 rules for parsing the accounting data, and it was all happening automatically.
This is a great way to build an MVP, isn't it?
Yes.
That you do it manually.
Yes.
Because you have to learn the problem. The problem is
Exactly.
actually the problem, understanding it.
Exactly.
Right? So you went in manually. Tell us about that time when you were at the kitchen table working till 3 a.m.
Yeah, we have, I think, worked some 16 hours, because there were 1 GB data coming off accounting, like, backups and everything. And we were, transferring everything into Xero, exporting it, putting it into Excel, and pushing
Manually
into
recreating
everything.
Right.
And the IT guy was looking and he was like, wow, it is a pain. And he does not know what is debit. He does not know what is credit. But, when he was seeing me doing it, he was like, oh, I can, you're spending 2 hours. I can do it. I can write a code and we can do it in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's where we see.
From the client side, did they know that there was a human being?
Yes, so we were very upfront about it. And at that time, people didn't know that there is a service like that also, that, who could migrate. So we were quite upfront about it. That will take 15 days to do this. But your data will look like a mirror image of what was it. So they were okay with it. But luckily, because of the good IT team and IT expertise of India is quite, famous. So it was just a period of 3 months probably, and then we could reduce that turnaround time of 15 days to 3 days.
Yeah.
And now we can do it in a day or few hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's all automated, is it? How does it work?
Yes. So the execution, the whole migration process is completely automated, but we do have a team of Xero certified accountants and other accounting softwares as well. We have tie-up with them. So they do the quality analysis part. Because once the data has been migrated, it has to go through certain checks that everything is matching or not. So we have a team of qualified accountants to just match it, to do the analysis of quality.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great story as well. I mean, all the way from going back from honeymoon all the way up to producing your first public product, right? Automated product
Automated
as well.
product.
So when you built that product, that was the first version of what you built. Now, have you evolved that? Have you added features to it, or you just made it do one thing really well?
Yeah. So when we started, it was just Xero. So we were moving everything to Xero. Now we have exclusive tie-ups with one company in Canada called FreshBooks. Then we have one company in UK called ClearBooks. We have tie-up with Xero Canada and Xero Asia both. And we are talking with Intuit also, for next year. So what we do is we make an engine to push the data in one software, and then we extract it from different software. So that's the whole point. Like there is a pushing tool, and then there is an extraction tool, and then we bridge them together as the need comes, as the requirement comes. So earlier it was just one bridge tool, and now we have, I think, somewhere around 8 to 9 bridge tools, which are most popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how big is this market that you're in? I mean, how big is the problem?
Okay.
Surely as well, somebody might say this is just a one-time problem that people might have, right?
Yeah. So just to give a perspective of numbers that how many people... So, beautiful products are being built in this cloud accounting software industry. In 2018, it was $11,000 million industry, accounting software. And it is, by 2026, it's predicted to go $20,000 million. So imagine the number of cloud accounting softwares coming and the features they have. So now when people, they like any product, the financial data is such that you can't leave it in the previous software. You have to carry it wherever you go. So in terms of that, the cloud accounting industry in Asia Pacific is growing like by 20% every year. This is what I hear, which is a staggering number. So I think we get somewhere around 25 to 30 queries every day to just wanting to make a switch. And then this is how, we decide that how many migrations we are doing every day. So I think that's about the numbers. Yeah.
And how is it in India? Because it's easy when you're a cloud native company, when you were born on the cloud, so to speak. But if you're, many generations accountants, maybe they feel I'm not sure about cloud because I don't understand it. And B, is it safe? And all these kind of issues people may have with cloud accounting. Yeah. They don't understand it. They fear it.
Yeah.
What's it like in the conversations that you have? Because if 100% of all the accountants in India were on board, you'll be working 24 hours a day won't be enough, right?
Yeah,
so it must be right now quite small, the penetration, right?
Yes.
So what's changing?
So a lot of startups in India, first of all, many startups are emerging from India. So they are quite open about using cloud. They understand the security things as well. But the old generation chartered accountant firms, they're still in a space where they have to be convinced about the price also. They have to be convinced about the security also. But the newer generation, they're very, very open because they are using Netflix and they're using so many places where they're already giving away a lot of data, so they're comfortable with it. But we usually cater to a lot of startups. That's what I have figured out. The old clients or the medium enterprises are still a little bit they're not very open to the idea, but all the new startups are fine with it.
I think it's a good lesson as well, isn't it? Because if you're a startup selling to enterprise, you only have so much time, money, and heart, I suppose, to sell to certain people. So you have to choose who you want to sell to. So it may take a lifetime to convince an accountant, a traditional accountancy, to come across. But where these startups are digital first, they're much easier to convert. So
and they're very
you
lean.
need to focus there.
Yeah,
right?
they're very lean as well, right? So, but we have the capacity to scale up because we get accountants, very qualified accountants and IT teams. So we definitely have the capacity to expand. But I think these cloud accounting software, they are mostly serving SMEs. So, and these SMEs and the startups or the IT people, like, their data is such that, it is easily convertible. So that's the easy, low-hanging fruit. So we pick that first, and then, we have plans to move to the medium enterprise and the bigger CPA firms as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And your journey as a startup yourself, do you consider yourself a startup now? I mean, you're just under 10 years old, I suppose, are you? So, do you consider yourself still in that mode? You're 50 plus people. How do you think about yourself, MMC Convert, as a company?
I think we move past the startup challenges because that's why, maybe we are on the brink of moving from a startup to a mature company, but we are on the brink right now. That's how I see our company as.
And what kind of challenges do you face now? Because do you have 50 people on the payroll in the company?
Yes.
So you're managing 50 people as well. You started, there was the two of you, you and Ankit
and
at the
then
kitchen
an
table.
IT guy.
And the IT guy, let's
That's
not
it.
forget him as well. And then there were 20 times the amount of people.
Yeah.
How has that journey been for you, and how has your role evolved in all of that?
So we have a flat hierarchy system. So the IT team, they also sit with the execution guy because, you have to keep both of them close because IT team has to continually see that what quality analysis they are doing so that they can automate even that, or whatever mistakes which are, whatever exceptions which are being thrown. So they need to capture everything. So I've seen IT and execution team working very, very closely together, and they like to hang out so we have a flat hierarchy system in that terms. But we kind of take people, because in India you understand there's a person just has to know accounting, the 3 rules of debit credit, and then he has to be a little well-versed with internet. That's the only requirement for a person in my industry. And then we give them extensive training of 3 months. So I've seen that people coming from a very decent, modest background, but now they are communicating with people in US and Australia, and they are solving their problems. If we do an onboarding session, once we migrate the data, then we have a hand-holding session. So when I see my team who are very simple people, and then they converse with all these Australians and New Zealanders and people from US and Asia, and they tell them that this is how it is done and this is how your invoice is looking like. So seeing that change in those people also, that excites me a lot.
Right.
And this I've seen over a period of time, so I enjoy that bit.
But you must look for something specific in the people that you hire, because these aren't specifically accountants or software engineers, but they have something else, which is really what you're about as well, isn't it? You're not just a product, but there's that service.
Yeah, it's
and
a
I
service.
don't think India necessarily trains people for that, because you either get trained as a doctor or accountant or an engineer, right?
Yeah.
And nobody really gets trained for this. So you must have an eye for that when you look for it. So what do you look for in the people that join your team?
So what I look is that basically their accounting concepts should be clear, because we have a lot of commerce graduates. So their accounting concepts, in terms of, what the journal entry is going. If they are able to tell me few very complicated journal entries, I know these are the people for my job. Because in India, technical expertise can come very handy. But if they know only these 3 concepts of accounting, I'm very happy with them. Plus, there should be a scope of, there should be, a thing for learning in them, because they are doing because we are the only company in India. Nobody is doing right now the migration bit. So if they should feel that they're part of something big, and they should be excited about it. So if anybody is just wanting to stay back into a traditional thing, that we don't bother to tell them that how the world is and where but somebody who is well read, who understand where the world is pivoting to, then I see that thing, that how far or how ahead in the game they are, and how well read they are.
So do they tend to be people who have gone into accountancy and then maybe got out of accountancy because they want to do something bigger, or they want to do something that has more sort of meaningful contact with.
So most of the time it has happened that they finish their education accounting, they join a traditional small firm, they are accounting, and then they get bored. It's like, we don't want to do the bank reconciliation, everything, and then they start to do their business management courses. A lot of people in India, they go for MBAs and everything, and then they feel like, this is also not for us. So those people who like accounting, but they don't know how to put use to it in a more meaningful way. So, I think we have major chunk of those.
There must be a lot. I don't know how many accountants there are in India generally, but even if you took 10% of that market.
10% would be.
Yeah, it's a few million, right?
Yeah.
Probably already. So we're going to flash your website up now, just
Sure.
so the people who are watching can just kind of see a little bit about what you do. I noticed, for example, some of the language on your website.
Sure.
It's quite simple. And
Yeah.
you're making even words like easy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not what I see traditionally on an accountancy website as well.
Yeah.
And then, even, with your explanations, it's some of the wording as well is not what I would consider traditional in this space, like magical and so on, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering what your sort of ideas are behind this. And I want to sort of tie that into a little bit of what Xero talks about as well, beautiful business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you have a philosophy about what you do and how you make your products and how you treat your customers?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, when you talk about what you do, I feel, you should be able to tell what you do, to explain it to even a 5-year-old also and an 80-year-old person also. So we try to keep our explanations very easy, so that even if a person is from small, like he runs let's say he's a florist, he should not be scared away by the terms like what is receivable and payable and payroll and everything. So we try to keep our interface as a very generic thing, so that any person who is who just has any accounting problem and found a solution and he wants to reach there. So we try to keep the language very simple in that context. And then the customer experience, we consider our website as like a showroom, like a retail showroom where you walk in. So you want to take him across, and he should just feel that, he's just placing. So we have productize our service, so he can just pick, okay, this is what I want, this is how I want to convert, these many years I want to convert, and just check out. And when he gets his product, he has everything on it. All he needs to do is just start working on it. So we try to productize the service so that he feels it's a very tangible thing, and I'm getting how they get delivered to our doorstep. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, it's tangible benefits, isn't it? And I'm always curious about any sort of software company is that, everybody's becoming a SaaS platform now, right? I mean, is yours a SaaS model? Because I see it's like a one-off payment, right? So
So
how does it work there?
Okay, so we have two things here. One of MMC Convert provides the conversion service, which is a one-time model. People choose one of the 4 accounting software they want to migrate to, either Xero, FreshBooks, QuickBooks Online, ClearBooks. And then once they are on board to these softwares, we also provide a training session just to tell them that how your data used to be and how it is now. After that, then a few of our customers, they also want to get their accounting done on. So we also have a team of people who do a recurring service. So we use some great marketplace products, which all these softwares have, and we do a regular bookkeeping and accounting service for them.
So have you had plans to build your own marketplace then? Marketplace within a marketplace?
We want to make accounting easier. So we are trying to build a product which would be more intuitive, because we have the conversion data with us, with like a historical data. Then we also have the bookkeeping, the regular data. So we want to do like, a receipt capturing kind of thing, where we want to move it toward codeless accounting. Like they just have to put the receipts or vouchers, and it would be automatically coded. So that's what the whole idea is.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
So you have the team, obviously yourself and the team at MMC Convert. You have companies like Kevin and Xero.
Yeah.
And Alan and Zave, who we're very familiar with as well. So everybody, even though what they're doing is quite technical and it's quite behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And if you get into the nuts and bolts of the software, often there's a lot of quite deep tech in there. Some people use automations, some have chatbots and so on. But the front end is very, very simple.
Correct.
And they have this whole idea of like beautiful business or enabling you to do something which is beyond ledger.
Yeah.
You know, nobody gets excited about
Yeah,
ledger.
yeah.
No, all due respect to accountants, but even I don't think accountants, like doctors, they don't sign up to do that. They sign up to help people.
Yeah.
Like a doctor doesn't sign up to write prescriptions, or
Sure.
he signs up to make people's lives better, right?
Sure.
And often what happens is during their career, they get bogged down
Yeah.
in the weeds
Yeah.
of their work.
True.
So how is it for you? What is your vision for what companies can be and what we can do? And all of this space, it seems to be people working to take work out of the way
Yeah.
so that we can focus on this more high value stuff. What is that high value stuff? Once we take all this kind of admin,
Yeah.
what are we going to be doing with our lives?
So, first of all, even when we see that how many startups are coming or how many companies are starting to work, the failure rate is pretty much same what it was 50 years ago and even now, right? It hasn't changed. If there was so much in the ecosystem and so much good money coming up and so many good solutions coming up, then the success rate should be higher, which is not happening. So there is
Good point.
there is some systemic failure which we are not able to point out. So what I feel is that a lot of people, they're very passionate about their work, they're doing everything right, but the financial health is something that everybody does not get the pulse. They don't know how much the cash flow is, and these sounds, as you say, I mean, they are very boring stuff. Nobody gets passionate about, I want to build a software as a service model for finding out how much my employee is fetching per hour or something. So these are the things which are very important. And you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So I feel, when you have such beautiful software doing all these hard work, like how, you go to any social network site and you see everything and they hook you onto it, right? So if there is something happening in the accounting industry so simply that you can see that, my receivables are such and payable. You can talk to Alexa about it, that how much is my receivable, and So I think when you start measuring these things, they start to, register in your subconscious, and no matter whether you like it or not like it, your efforts start to get in that direction. So I feel with all these making easier, I think we should be able to increase the success rate of how many, that's what I feel, that, making it simpler, making it more friendly, removing that boring tag out of all these data because they're very crucial. This will increase the success rate of business.
In a way, you take the fear out of the process as well. I mean, could be the fear of looking at my phone and seeing what's there or not there. And I think that makes a lot of people just kind of push it aside.
Exactly.
And if I was to have the habit of checking my accounts on a regular basis, or whatever it is, even like, okay, I've got to get onto this platform, but I'll get round to it like
you
after Christmas.
procrastinate.
Like I put it's in this shoebox in my mind of like receipts.
True.
That's going to happen in January once I've got through all these things first, and then guess what? I'm here next year. The same sort of conversation. And maybe that's why the failure rate is still the same, because it's the human beings.
We delegate it to our future self. And then why do we delegate to our future self? Because, it's too tough, or it's too boring, or it's too fearful to take it right now. So if there is some person who's doing that for you while you're moving on with what you actually enjoy to do, I think, this will do the drill.
Yeah, absolutely. So you speak a lot at universities as well. You lecture, but you also give talks as well. Public talks about entrepreneurship. Tell us a little bit about the kind of subjects you talk about.
So I teach at IIM. These are Indian Institute of Management, and these are government institute where they teach management. So I talk about entrepreneurship there, and the major thing which I speak about is that how we teach entrepreneurship around the world, it's little bit broken because not every entrepreneur is same. So there's an entrepreneurial DNA, which is like there are some people who are builders that, they build one successful product, they scale it up to crazy height, they move on to the next product, then they scale it up, move on to the next product. This is a builder DNA. So they attract everybody, investors, good teams, everything. Then there is opportunist DNA, who are very good with sales. but they will have a lot of highs and lows in their business. Then there is an expert DNA who are domain expertise, they're specialists. All their life, they would do probably one business and they'll be happy with it. And then there are innovators like Mark Zuckerberg and all these people. They do something for the world. They want to create some difference. But these people, they hide in dungeon. They're very difficult to find. The world needs a lot of them. So everybody has a different entrepreneurial DNA. And then that DNA has to be nurtured in a different way. So we can't teach entrepreneurship to everyone in the same way. Because you might have a team of any startup. They have a combination of, let's say, opportunist and builder, but they don't have a lot of domain expertise. So their service might plateau after a while. So they need to hire a specialist. So that's how we need to find out that what are the DNA required for one
the dream
business.
team.
Yeah.
What are you? If you've analyzed yourself?
I think I'm a specialist and Ankit would be a builder because,
Does he agree? Yeah. Okay. So a specialist being somebody who's a domain expert.
Domain expertise.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that would be in engineering, software.
Yes, but over a period of time, I've now understood the ABC of accounting as well. So
right.
yeah.
Of course, you have to as well.
Yeah.
But do you think you evolve as an entrepreneur as well? Maybe you start as an expert and then you learn how to build stuff.
Yes.
And how does that work for you as well?
Because as an entrepreneur, you can't say that, oh, you know what, I'm only going to do the execution and operation. Marketing is not because, that's all your company. So I tend to learn something which was not my area of interest at all. But, as an entrepreneur, you can't afford to say that I don't want to look into HR. I don't want to look into, you have to do everything. And I think I have slowly grown into that space where I know that this is all my thing and I have to do everything.
Evolve.
Yeah.
And how do you find young people coming through as well? So you must teach, speak to, and engage a lot of young talent coming through. And India's got so much. And there's this narrative that you become a software engineer and you work for a large IT provider, the Vipros, these kind of people, Infosys.
Yeah.
That's your life.
Yeah.
You just go into the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
And that's it. Or you can do the doctor, engineer, accounting thing. And yet there must be a group of people who say, I want to build something, or I want to be one of those entrepreneurs. I want to create something. How are people coming through now? Are their expectations set right? Are they coming through and say, yeah, I'm going to be the next Facebook, $1 billion. I'm going to be the next Flipkart, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or are these people coming through with the right training? So when you touch them effectively with your conversations and your talks, are they aligned with what's necessary? Are they, because, I'll just put it a bit of context.
Yeah.
I think in some Asian countries, I'm based here in Singapore, they think entrepreneurship's cool, but the problem is they don't understand it's actually really hard. It's brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
So I find that maybe the first part is not learning all these tools, but just kind of toughening up a little bit, right? How is it in India?
So in India, I mean, not just in India, probably everywhere in the world, everybody wants freedom. Right? That's the one thing. If you ask all the entrepreneurs, I think one answer would be common out of those three, that we want it to be independent. We want to be free. So in India also, the newer generation, the millennials, they don't want to dance on anybody's tune. They want to do something of their own so that they can have a chill life. So that would be the first reason. And that's there. And I don't think the age where they are, of course, this could be a thing. But for people do not start with their own business or anything for three reasons. One is no money, no idea, or no risk-taking ability or appetite or something. So entrepreneurship, I feel the first thing, as you said, is, the conviction in your own idea and conviction in yourself and the ability to just say, no of what you believe, but just to say yes to what your whole conviction or your idea set is. So that ability comes after a long time. You have to have experience. You have to have some failure. How you have a success resume, you have to have a failure resume. So if you haven't tried a couple of things and not failed at it, you won't develop that risk attitude. So I think and ideas are also not very easy to come by. You have to solve a problem which is at least affecting not just 100 people around you, somewhere around
And you have to be open to understanding problems as well. Like the people you recruit, I guess, are better at understanding and empathizing with the problems of
True.
your customers or the industry generally.
Very true.
That's really important. Right?
Yeah, empathy, I think, is the key to it.
What about you? Just sort of bringing this round full circle, because we started off talking about the story of MMC and obviously Ankit's grandfather, right, and the legacy of that. And you as an entrepreneur as well, were you always entrepreneurial? Because I feel that, often the great way to tell us, to teach people is through a story, right, an example.
Yeah.
And you had, I suppose, like in the modern age of traditional education, which is engineering based,
Correct.
right? But were you entrepreneurial? Did you have that sort of spark in you when you were younger? You might not have said, right, I'm going to build $1 billion, social network, but you may have been doing things or creating things. So people can look at that and identify those characteristics in themselves.
Yeah, so I feel like, you, if you have that thing that you're trying something and you're wanting to make a difference, or if you have your own way of, there is a way to go from A to B, but you always have this thing that, no, I think there should be another way, C also. C. And if you have this
or
thing.
Or D, even if C doesn't work.
Yeah. So if you continuously find yourself in that space, I think, you know that this is just one check for entrepreneur. Again, I would say it's a whole package of things which needs to be checked for a person to be an entrepreneur. But if you have this ability to make any bad idea into a good idea, just see that, here is another revenue stream. Here is another profit center. Here is something which, which a person might be missing. Here is some intrinsic value which, people are not seeing, some hidden value which anybody. So if you keep looking for all these things in other people's product, I think, this is also one check.
Is that a trained thing, or were you like that when you were out of the world of business, when you were younger? Because I wonder if that's just how your mind is hardwired, or did you learn it at school?
So my father is he's an entrepreneur, and he is a self-made entrepreneur. So I've seen him, picking up a couple of business and trying to solve a problem. So I always thought that this is how, you make your world a better place, that, you solve problem and then you look for another problem to solve.
I see that a lot, that often entrepreneurs have been around people at a young age who could have been their dad or their family or uncle, and those people have influenced them, not by saying, when you grow up, you've got to become an entrepreneur. You just see them hustling, you see them doing things.
We learn by examples. I don't think there's another way for people to learn and pick only examples, I guess.
Well, it makes a big impact on us when we're young as well. And I think you coming here and sharing your story as well is really like a repeat of that legacy as well. So people can look at what you two are doing and your team as well, and they can see a bit of that. And that, I think for people as well, if you're an entrepreneur, you are slightly different. You are slightly on the edge of the mainstream. So when people look at that, they think, actually, that's a positive. I can turn that into something positive as well.
And I think you're bringing a lot of examples here, I guess.
Well, exactly.
Stories.
Positivity. Exactly. It's the tribe of entrepreneurs. The misfits, we can all come together and make stuff together.
And we are hardwired to listen to these stories, I guess,
We love story. So of your story, you're heading back to India tomorrow. And what is your purpose here, apart from being at the roadshow with Xero? What else is on your agenda in terms of MMC?
So basically how we productize our service. So, we don't get to spend, we don't get a lot of face time with our customers. So we try to meet as many customers as possible, like people we have served, or, our recurring, bookkeeping service we provide. So, so we try to make it a point that at least we do a round of and understand what their problems are. Is there anything which they're doing where they could save time? So just to do more face time with our customers. That's the whole agenda of this trip.
Well, that's great. That's like walking the shop floor, isn't it? And getting that. I don't think a lot of, or enough people do that, right? Because it may be uncomfortable sometimes. It's comfortable to sit behind and program a software app, right?
But your growth definitely comes out of that uncomfortable zone. So I'm not saying we are there, but that's, I think that's a recipe for growth, I guess, to get into that uncomfortable zone and hear that, your customer would say that, this is the 3 things which you did right, but this one thing, this could have been better. So I think,
great advice.
That would help.
That is Shanu Mehta, everybody, and off-camera Ankit as well. Thank you, guys, for coming to Singapore, and thank you for coming to the studio as well. I hope to see you back in Singapore at some time, or even see you in India as well.
We would love to see you in India, and thank you for making this conversation, I could navigate it, and you asked such interesting
questions. It's a good
questions.
story as well. And the best place for people to reach out for you? I mean, obviously, you've got your website. We put the details in the show notes. Are you active on LinkedIn? Is it okay for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Twitter. I think we are active on these two platforms, and that's it.
Excellent. Well, if you watched the story of Shanu and the team at MMC Convert today and you enjoyed it, then please show your support. Like the video so you can help promote it out to a wider audience. And also reach out to them if you haven't, to the team, Shanu and Ankit as well. I'm sure you're all over LinkedIn as well. Yeah. So just tell them that you've seen this video and you heard the story as well. So, Shanu, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much.